Hey, what's up, everybody? Graspop Metal Meeting 2018, Day 2, and we're joined in the studio by no one other than Eric and Brent of Shinedown.
What's happening?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm
man?
fine. How are you?
We're great.
How was the show?
Show was amazing. Had a lot of fun. Crowd was awesome. Jumping up and down, going crazy. Couldn't have had more fun, man. It was awesome. Had a
There's
great
a lot
time.
of momentum with these festivals that we're doing right now, because a couple of years ago we did the same ones. We were in a different position, moving up in, rank and time slots and what have you. Because we talked about it from the day we got over here at the beginning of June, that we can definitely see a lot more exposure of the band in these territories and in these countries, because there's a lot more people singing back like the whole set. But they were freaking awesome today.
Talking about freaking awesome, one of the most craziest things we ever saw happening here on the main stage was you. Do you remember 3 years ago, when you played here? When you went off stage and you opened the crowd?
Yeah, I did that today.
Yeah,
Did you?
that's what
Oh, yeah, I
that's what he
missed it.
does. That's what he does. You know.
Is that something that you always try to make something special, a special moment in the show?
Yeah, the reality of that moment is myself and Eric and Barry and Zach, like we try to keep ourselves in check with each other in regards to, we do this every night and we love what we do. And sometimes we can be fatigued mentally or physically, but when we walk on the deck, no matter what time of the day it is, no matter what city, no matter what country, we kind of try to always remember that a lot of the people in the audience, it's going to be their very first time ever seeing us, and they might have waited a few months to see us, or in some cases 10 years to see us. So you have to keep that mindset. So the reason I split the crowd and I go out there is to break the ice with the idea that there's a separation between the band and the public. We only have one boss. It just happens to be everyone in the audience. So we want them to know how much they mean to us. So once you go in there with them, I think that they're able to kind of let their guard down and enjoy the show more.
I think a lot of artists too have this thing, and it's not me pointing a finger. It's just an observation that they're up there to be seen. You know, we're up here to be seen by you, and that's that. And for us, we're all a part of this thing together. When we get on stage, it's not just the band; it's the band and the crowd that makes the show what it is. And we don't like that separation. You know, we want to bring the crowd onto the stage, and we want to bring the stage out to them. You know?
But the more successful you get, the bigger the crowds, the bigger the stages, so maybe even bigger the distance between you guys and the fans. And that's your way to
Yeah, it all just depends on, you can't walk up there and be afraid of the moments. You have to walk up there and realize that it's a moment in time, and whatever you're gonna do, make sure it counts. You know, because we have a thing, like we don't say goodbye just in our own lives, like with other people and what have you. We're not really good at saying goodbye. We always just say till next time. Because once again, you know, as we come back into, you know, different festivals in different cities and countries all across, you know, this planet, we're never gonna phone anything in. Like every show has to be the next level that it was last time. It allows us to keep each other in check, and it also it helps us to have humility, because believe me, all four of us are nervous before we walk on any stage.
Still?
He wasn't today, he said. You weren't as nervous today.
I'd only been awake for an hour.
That's true. You only been awake for an hour. But like, if I didn't get butterflies and if I wasn't nervous before I walked up there, I would think that something's seriously wrong, because it lets you know you're alive.
Are you afraid for that moment?
I'm not afraid. I'm more than anything, I'm preparing for what I have to do. Just like when he walks up there, in his mind, he's preparing for what he has to do. Same thing for Zach, and the same thing for Barry. He has a really good way of explaining this too. We may not be individually maybe that interesting, but when you put the four of us together up there, there's something pretty remarkable that happens that only the four of us can do with each other.
Yeah.
And you know, for me, it's the people who have seen the band before, I want them to experience something greater than what they experienced the last time. And for the people who haven't seen the band, I want them to come with us when we leave.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a bit of pressure with that when you step out, especially on a festival stage, where you're guaranteed to have people who've never been exposed to your band before. Yeah. I want every single one of those people to leave thinking great things about Shinedown.
Yeah. We were outside the studio here when you guys were on stage. I heard you played Bully again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's, to me, one of your greatest songs. I love that
cool.
song,
Thank you.
really. But the new album also has some kind of concept about being yourself and being confident.
Right.
Is it something that keeps you busy?
And what? That's something that keeps us busy.
Yeah, I mean, is it something that how do you say?
Is it just something that's part of us?
The
we feel
social
like,
feeling, the idea of
to overcome.
Yeah.
Well, Attention is not the traditional record from us in regards to when we go into a studio, you'll write 60 plus to 100 songs. You'll pick the 10, 12, however many it's going to be. You'll wrap it all up and you'll present it to the world. Because the world changes and the industry changes, we take that into consideration, but we still believe in making albums for the public across the entire globe. Because we don't really look at rock and roll as like a genre of music. We look at it as a way of life, and it's more of a community. Yeah. So Attention was the very first time that we decided to do an album that was built around a story. It's not a conceptual piece in the traditional sense either, when you think of like Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime or even Pink Floyd's The Wall, or with The Who when they did Tommy, because there's very, very specific things in those albums, character names, places, scenarios. It's very detail-oriented. This is an album about the listener putting themselves inside of the album. So it's more of a story album, because the way the record starts is, you know, you hear the heartbeat of the machine in the beginning, and then you hear the knock on the door opens, person walks in, chair gets pulled up, you can hear someone sit down, they take a deep breath, and they exhale, and then Devil starts. So it's definitely a journey, and just overall, I think that we look back at it now and see how compelling that it is. It's only a month and 15 days old, you know, the album that is. It's interesting to watch the fan base, whether they're new or whether they've been there from day one with us as a band, and talk about the dynamic of why this is an important album, because it is a story. If you want to listen to it the way we intended it to be heard, it's meant to be heard from the beginning to the middle to the finale. I don't think that you could do that record in this day and age unless you were us, because we've had the experience. And the other thing about the record that we were able to do for the very first time is the man that's sitting next to me is also the producer of the entire record, and he also mixed the album as well, and he's part of the band. So, and he has a great way of explaining that too, which, you know, when you talk about producers and engineers, we've had a lot of really, really great teachers, but I think he looked at it from the standpoint of he'd rather go crazy making it himself rather than watch someone else go crazy trying to make it, because he would just be standing or sitting there going, "You're doing it wrong." Like it needs to be. So we were like, well, Eric will just do it.
Yeah. But, you know, more to your original point about Bully and overcoming and that sort of thing is, I think that for us, we just always write from an honest place. We don't ever make stories up. We write from experiences and from things we know. And you know, for us, we always feel like we are overcoming something. We're always trying to defeat something in a way. You know, something that we're put up against. It's one of the symptoms of being a human being. You know, is having walls put up, and in the case of Bully, that's a wall that's put up by someone else that you have to get through. In the case of our record, Attention, those are walls we put up ourselves that we have to overcome and break down. So. We just always write honestly, and we always write what we know. And so for us, we write about, you know, a lot of the time we're writing about the struggles of being a human being.
But over time, you also develop this understanding of society and your mental and your physical health. Just like Bully and just like the album Attention, it's all about not being afraid to fail.
Yeah.
I think that people, a lot of times, especially today, they'll put themselves into a corner psychologically and think that they can't get to the next level, or they can't, if they aspire to be something greater than what they are at the moment, they think that the world is going to beat them down. The world is going to beat you down if you let it. The fact of the matter is you're going to fail. You're going to need to fail in order to know what to do next time. Because you're not going to be defined by your failures. You'll be defined by the fact that you don't give up.
Yeah. Wow. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me here.
Thank
in the
you.
Thank
studio.
you.
Have the rest of the day a fine day, and have a great tour.
Thanks so much. man.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having
Thanks
us.
for having us, man. Much appreciated.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.